just like yesterday, the most important thing here is that we notice that the first problem we're adding and subtracting square roots, and the second problem we're multiplying square roots. So we're going to do very different things to simplify both of these. In the first one, since we're adding and subtracting, we've got three separate terms. What do we need to do first? Well, we're going to do factor trees, but what do we need to make sure we do? What's the difference between those? For the adding and subtracting problem, after we do our factor tree, we have to keep our factors in separate square roots. All right, those pluses and minuses need to keep those separate. For the multiplication one, when we're done with our factor trees, we can put them all in one square root because it's all one term. All right, so we need to remember when we're adding and subtracting, we need to keep them in separate square roots and simplify them separately. When we're multiplying, we can do them all together. All right, so for that first one, when we want to simplify the square root of 27 plus 2 square root of 24 minus the square root of 12, we're going to do our factor trees first. 27 would be 9 times 3, and then 3 times 3. 24, 4 times 6, 2 and 2, 2 and 3. And then 12 could be 4 times 3 and 2 times 2. All right, after I do that, this is where we need to make sure that we keep these separate. So when we rewrite it, all of these factors are going to go in their own square root. So for our rewrite here, don't forget, we'll start with an equal sign, and then we've got the square root of 27, but instead of 27, we're going to have, all right, and then plus square root of 24. Instead of 24, we're going to have
2 times 2 times 2 times 3.
Okay.
2 on the outside.
Yes, don't forget that 2 on the outside, that coefficient. All right, so if we have a coefficient to start with, we need to make sure we bring that down. If you forget that, you're going to lose a point on it. All right, you need to make sure that you have it. And if you forget that and then you don't end up using it, then you're going to get the wrong answer, and then that's more points. So that wouldn't be good. Then we've got minus the square root of 12, which will be 2 times 2 times 3. All right, so after we rewrite it, now what are we doing? Looking for pairs. So in that first one, we have a pair of 3s. Second one, we have a pair of 2s. And then the last one, we also have a pair of 2s. All right, and what are we going to do with those pairs? They go on the outside. So that first square root, we get the 3 on the outside and the 3 left on the inside. On the second square root, we have a 2 that's going to the outside, but there's already a 2 out there. So what do we get out there? 4. And then what's left on the inside? 6. So that 2 times 3 is going to give us 6. And then for the last one, we get 2 on the outside and 3 on the inside. All right, now we want to look for like terms. Do we have any like terms here?
Yes.
Yeah, we've got the 3 square root of 3 and the 2 square root of 3. What about the square root of 6? Is anything going to combine with that? No. So that one is going to just stay 4 square root of 6. So then the question is, do we put the square root of 3's first or the square root of 6's first? Square root of 3's, right? So we'll combine the 3 square root of 3 and negative 2 square root of 3 and get just square root of 3, or you could say 1 square root of 3, right? I'll make it 1 square root of 3 to start with. And then the 4 square root of 6 doesn't combine with anything, so just bring it down. And like I've said before, that's a good answer. That'll get you full credit. But since there's a 1 in front of that square root of 3, what can I do to simplify it a little bit? Take off that 1. So we could just write it square root of 3 plus 4 square root of 6. So when we're multiplying square roots, like we said earlier, the difference here is this is all one term. So we can put our factors all in one square root. All right? But to start with, what are we going to do first? Okay, we'll start with factor tree. So we got 6 and 10, 2 and 3, 2 and 5. And then for the 30, we've got 3 and 10, and 2 and 5. And so then after factor tree, we rewrite But this is going to be very different than we rewrote for the adding and subtracting. First of all, what do we need to do before we do anything with those factors in the factor tree? What's that? Bring down the 3, right? So the first thing we do is we multiply the coefficients. We have a 3 here and we don't have a coefficient here. We could pretend like it's a 1. So 3 times 1 is 3. So we get 3 on the outside. Then all of our factors from both of our factor trees are going to go in the same square root. This is the same thing as multiplying 60 times 30, except instead of 60 we're doing all these, and instead of 30 we're using all these. All right, so in order, looks like we have 3 2s, then 2 3s, and then 2 5s. Now what?
So be your pairs.
Yep. Now we're just simplifying a square root like we normally do. So circle pair of 2s, pair of 3s, pair of 5s, and everything that we have circled there is going to end up on the outside. So with the 3 already out there, we're going to have 3 times 2 times 3 times 5, which is 90. Okay, those of you that said 30, you probably forgot about the 3 out front. And then what's left on the inside?
2.
That 2 there.